Hey there and welcome. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the economy and get into the real nitty-gritty of what makes a business, well, a business. Let's jump right in.
Just think about your day so far. The coffee you grabbed, the phone you're probably holding, the streaming service you watched last night. Business is literally all around us all the time. It's the engine that makes our world go round.
But here's the thing. We're all playing in this game every single day. So don't you think it's time we learned the rules? That's exactly what we're going to do right now in this explainer.
All right, so first things first. Let's start at square one. What even is a business, really?
At its heart, it's actually pretty straightforward. A business is just any group that's trying to make a profit by giving people something they want or need. And that profit? It's simply the cash that's left in the bank after all the bills, rent, salaries, materials, are paid. And the stuff they provide, it really just boils down to two things. You've got goods, that's the physical stuff you can actually touch, like a laptop or a pair of shoes. And then you've got services, the things people do for you, like a haircut or fixing your car. Two sides of the same coin, both designed to solve a problem for you, the customer.
Okay, but here's a twist. Not every organization is in it for the money. You've got not-for-profits, right? Like Habitat for Humanity. Their main goal isn't profit, it's a social mission. But, and this is the really cool part, they still have to run like a business. They need budgets, marketing, smart strategies, all the same tools, just for a different end goal.
So, what does it actually take to make a business work? Well, you need a few key ingredients. Think of it like a recipe. You start with your raw materials. That's natural resources. You need people to work with them. That's labor. You need tools and money. That's capital. Then you need a chef to put it all together in a new way. That's entrepreneurship. But here's the secret sauce. The fifth ingredient that's become the most important one today: knowledge. The brainpower of your team is now the most valuable asset, hands down.
All right, so a business isn't an island. It doesn't exist in a bubble. We need to zoom out a bit and look at the world it has to live in because that environment is constantly changing and throwing curveballs.
Look at all this. Every single business is constantly being pushed and pulled by forces completely outside its control. You've got the economy, politics, what society cares about, new tech popping up. It's like trying to sail a ship in a storm. The best business leaders aren't just steering their own ship. They're experts at reading the winds and the waves of this bigger environment to stay afloat and move forward.
Okay, so we've got the players, the businesses, and we've got the playing field, the environment. Now let's talk about the actual rule book. The fundamental rules of the game that everyone has to follow. We're talking about the economic system.
The easiest way to think about it is like a computer's operating system. A country's economic system is the background code that decides who gets what. It sets the rules for how resources are used and how the final products get into people's hands.
And there are a few main flavors of this operating system. You've got capitalism on one side, where individuals and private companies run the show. Then, way over on the other end, you have communism, where the government controls pretty much everything. And in the middle, you find socialism and, more commonly, mixed economies, which is where most countries actually land. It's a blend, a mix of private freedom and government rules.
Okay, let's bring this down from the 30,000-foot view right to your wallet. How is the price of, anything actually decided? This is where the rubber meets the road.
It all starts with demand. That's us, the buyers. And it's common sense, right? If the price of something is super high, fewer of us are going to buy it. But if that same thing goes on sale, suddenly a lot more of us are interested. High price, low demand. Low price, high demand. Simple as that. Now on the flip side, you've got supply. This is from the business's point of view. And for them, it's the exact opposite. If they can sell something for a really high price, they're going to want to make and sell as much of it as they can. But if the price drops, the profit margin shrinks and they're way less motivated to produce it. High price, high supply. Low price, low supply.
So you've got this standoff, right? We, the buyers, want the lowest price possible. And they, the sellers, want the highest price possible. So, who wins? How does the market settle this?
Well, these two opposing forces meet in the middle at something called the equilibrium point. You can think of it as the market's sweet spot. It's that perfect price where the amount of stuff people are willing to buy is exactly the same as the amount of stuff businesses are willing to sell. Boom! The price is set, the market is in balance.
Okay, so the price is set, but the game's not over. Now, all the businesses in that market have to fight it out for your business. So what does that competition actually look like?
It really breaks down into four main flavors of competition. And it all depends on things like how many companies are in the game,
and how hard it is for a new player to join. It's a spectrum, from perfect competition on one end, tons of companies easy to get in, all the way to a pure monopoly on the other, where it's just one company calling all the shots.
And here are some real-world examples to make it stick. Perfect competition? Think about farming, tons of farmers selling basically the same wheat. Monopolistic competition, that's your local restaurant scene. Lots of options, but each one is trying to be a little different. Oligopoly? That's when a few huge players dominate, like Boeing and Airbus in the aircraft industry. And a pure monopoly? That's often your local utility company. You've only got one choice for water or electricity.
You know, if there's one rule in business, it's that the rules are always changing. So, to wrap things up, let's take a quick look at the future. What are the big shifts that are changing the game right now?
There are at least 3 massive waves hitting the business world. First, you've got huge demographic shifts in the workforce, different generations all wanting different things. Second, there's the massive issue of global energy and sustainability that no company can ignore anymore. And third, the very idea of strategy is changing. It's not just about a sale anymore. It's all about building a relationship with your customers that lasts.
And that last point is a huge deal. This quote says it all, really. The longer a customer sticks with you, the more valuable they become. They buy more, they trust you more, and they tell their friends. It's a complete shift in thinking. It's not about how many customers you have, but how strong your relationship is with the ones you've got. It's all about loyalty.
So there you have it, from the simplest definition of a business to the huge forces that are shaping its future. It's this incredible dynamic game that's always in motion. And that really just leaves us with one final big question to chew on. What do you think the next big game-changing rule is going to be?